The objective of this video is to describe the concept of machine learning reference architecture along with the associated building blocks of the reference architecture. In order to derive reference architecture, we need to understand principles of machine learning architecture. There are certain principles that need to be adopted when we are going and we are selecting machine learning reference architecture. To start with, first principle is you need to consider entire end-to-end process which starts from development, goes till deployment, hosting and maintenance. Second, you should never depend on a particular technology. In other words, your architecture should be technology agnostic. You need to focus on information management because information management will help you to classify data into various different types of information which will be used by your machine learning algorithms. And finally, you should always consider scalability, flexibility, and identify appropriate matrices to measure the performance. Once we adopt the right principles, we have to go ahead and select one of the machine learning reference architecture. Any reference architecture will contain certain important architectural blocks. It starts with identifying the strategy. A strategy needs to be driven by using the right principles, deriving the right requirement, and understanding the constraints which are applied. Now we have the strategy along with the requirement and constraints ready. Next component of machine learning architecture is the architecture or the design. Every architecture must be architected and a blueprint design must be created. The design needs to take care of all the ingredients and the components that are required in order to build a comprehensive machine learning architecture. So your reference architecture also points to that. Once you have designed your architecture, you need to identify the inner blocks of the architecture, which can be related to training, modeling, curating data, and depends on the complexity that you are going to target. Now you have all the building blocks identified. Next is to build the solution building block. Solution building block indicates that whatever architectural building blocks you have identified, what frameworks, what tools, and what methodology you are going to adopt in order to take care of that particular component. You have to do this for each and every component. Now, once you have the solution building block identified, you have to focus on product release, internal processes, and how you are going to make that service available. After looking at a blueprint of machine learning reference architecture, let's go ahead and see building blocks that can be used in order to complete the machine learning reference architecture. First element is the business domain. There are various different components that you need to think of. You need to identify the right business management process. You need to identify the right business services that you are catering to.